where we're going to interview the king of kaching, Tom Antion. In the podcast production system, there are two separate but equally important groups: the guests who think they have something to say, and the hosts who completely exploit them. These are their stories.
And we're back with our guest, Tom Antion. And you can check out his website, screwthecommute.com. How's it going, Tom? You having a good time so far?
Yeah. I usually have to be the straight and narrow on a lot of the podcasts I do, and this one apparently not.
No,
not at all. We're just kind of, we like to have
bending your dick.
I'm hoping that I give the whole show some socially redeeming information here.
Well, speaking of, I think you feel like I was, checking you out and really fascinated by, your bio and everything that you do. Now, you have the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country. Is that correct?
Yeah. I did it about 13 years ago based on the fact that I've been selling on the commercial internet since there was a commercial internet around 1994. So about 29 years. And then, there's so many scammers out there. I thought, how am I going to set myself apart? Because everybody says, that's bullshit. This is, internet's a scam and everything. So I went through 3 years of licensing, background checks and financial checks and passed it all, and curriculum checks, and then got the license for the school. So nobody on this earth that teaches internet has gone through the shit I went through to get the license.
So you've really put yourself through the like, you have your bona fides in this area.
Exactly.
There is no one. If anybody gets credentials, those credentials be from you.
Well, the thing is Google has a certification thing that you can go for like 20 hours, but this is a full-blown adult school, adult learning school, and you gotta kick some ass to get to graduate, and something when you get out, and you have a marketable skill. Unlike the 4-year colleges today, where you get out and all you know how to do is protest.
So, well, speaking of having a marketable skill, how can you make your hobbies tax? Like, how can you turn a hobby into a career?
Yeah. I mean, I've been teaching that for over 20 years. For instance, I have a protection dog company. I have the dubious distinction of being the largest person ever to create and star in a tennis training video. It's called fatsotennis.com. You can see it where I'm playing tennis and eating pizza at the same time.
Sounds like a blast.
Because it's the United States or any developed country. There's no law that says you got to hate what you do for a living. So I created a tennis training video. I sell it, which means it's a business. Money comes in from the sale of the DVDs, and it's an inexpensive website. But now all my tennis stuff is tax deductible. I've got a protection dog company on the side. They go for anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 for these dogs, and it helps.
What kind of dogs are they?
German Shepherds. We concentrate on it. They just put one down this last week.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it's worse. I mean, it's devastating enough for a pet, to be put down. But when you've put hundreds of hours bonding with this dog, and the dog was lay his life down for you. Yeah. And I was hurting, man. 3 weeks, he couldn't walk. I was trying everything to get him back going, but just couldn't do it. But so you can make your hobbies tax deductible. And people make the mistake is they go and get their W-2 from their dreaded job, and then they spend money on their interest and their family interest and golf and soccer and camping and all this stuff and pay through the ass for it. So all you have to do is put up an inexpensive WordPress website, and you don't even have to create a product. You can have an affiliate product, which means somebody else created a product, and when you recommend it, you get a commission. Well, guess what? You're now in business on that area. So yeah, you can make your hobbies tax deductible. I can't think of one that you couldn't.
Wow. So what are some ways that you get your products out to people? Is it just paid ads? Is it just like, what is it that drives the business to your website? Like, is it?
Okay. Yeah. So I've been doing
You
this.
hear a lot of dudes selling like funnels. I hear this fucking.
Yeah. Funnels, my ass. Yeah. I mean, people selling these $300, $400 a month funnel creators. And a funnel is simply a person clicks here and does something. And then if they did that, you say, okay, what are they going to do next? And then you send them over here if they clicked here. And if they clicked over here, you send them over here. That's a funnel. So it's a buzzword in the industry, and some people are making millions selling this to people that don't know any better. But I've been around so long, the people at my level have all made their big money with email. And so I have 100,000 subscribers. So I can hit a button, put a product or an affiliate product out, and money comes in because those people trust me and know me for a long time. So all the social media crap, oh my God, it's a necessary evil to get people off of there onto an email list that you control, because Mark Zuckerberg turns one dial and I disappear off the face of the earth. See, so all the social media should be to get them onto an email list that you control, and then you can send stuff out to people anytime you feel like it. And if you're good at writing copy and creating products, money pours in your front door.
That's right. I wish I was talented at either writing copy or creating products.
You can improve those skills for sure. I mean, that's copywriting is the *1 skill in my entire business since I'm a kid. I've been in business 46 years formally. I know you can't believe it, my little baby face here, but I'm going to be 68 in July. All right.
Good.
So
you look pretty great for 68.
Well,
I would have never guessed it.
I haven't been sucking exhaust fumes. Screw the commute is based on the fact I never had a job. I never, and my resume looks like BS because you can live 2 or 3 lives if you're not in traffic making somebody else rich every day.
God, the truth.
Well, Mike was going to say something.
That was the one thing that really stuck out in your bio that really impressed me, that you've never had a quote job. Now,
I did apply for a job once. It said it had a 401k.
I
thought, man, that's a damn good starting salary, 401,000. I didn't get that job. Yeah, but there's all kinds of cool stuff you could do with this. And I listened to some of your other shows. You had Izzy Gazelle on. He's a buddy of mine for many years.
You know Izzy? Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. 25 years at least, because he was in the Speakers Association with me. But I was hoping Big Daddy would show up, because I listened to another one of your guys' episodes, and he did this, I think it's called JTT, Just the
Tips. That's right.
And he said, you got to give more than you receive in the bedroom, right?
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
I'm thinking, I almost broke out in tears because I'm doing that. I give $300 and I get 2 or 3 minutes of excitement.
You better get those Blue Chew pills. That should make it last a little longer.
Yeah, I know. I should invest a few extra bucks in that. But yeah, there's all kinds of things. And a lot of people tell me, oh, well, I'm not tech savvy. Well, that's bullshit. If you got a cell phone in your hand, you're tech savvy. But I have a certain method of recruiting young geeks. And the first kid that you can check this online, the first kid that I recruited and out of 10th grade, turned him into an entrepreneur. He just sold Pluto.tv. You may have heard of this place.
Yes, Pluto TV.
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
To Viacom. We're all sitting down, $340 million. You can look in, he wrote an article in Forbes saying, thanking me for turning him into an entrepreneur. So anyway, if you want to recruit these young people, see, I don't want the 55-year-old out of work MBA that can't even turn their fucking computer on coming to work for me. So, but you can't age discriminate. So I write these ads that are really, really rotten, and they wouldn't be accepted anywhere except Craigslist. And what I do is I write the headline is a paid internship. No 55-year-old MBA is going to apply for an internship. So it wipes them off the map. I don't have to deal with them. And then the paid internship, then I tell them all the great things of working with this big shit internet guru. But then I get down to the bottom and I say stuff that would never make it on monster.com. I say, okay, you get all these perks, but if you're a worthless piece of shit that a slug that doesn't care about their work, if I don't throw you out of here, the good employees that work here will. And then it cuts out all the pieces of shit, the generations X, Y, Z shits that they're all entitled, and only the people show up that are saying, I'll show this guy. I'll show him I care. I'm good at what I do. So I get the best people to show up. I get rid of all the worthless pieces of shit, and I'm happy about it. So that's my method that monster.com does not endorse. Put it that way.
Well, yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, Maddie and I both got into podcasting basically through Craigslist, at least this level of podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, I love Craigslist. I grew up very frugal. I was telling you my name, Maddie, was a mistake, right?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce the thing? Well, my dad came in to Ellis Island back in the early 1900s, and his name was he came from Syria, which they named you from where you were born. So he was Simon from Antioch, Syria. That's how they named you.
Oh shit!
They couldn't read it at Ellis Island, so they said, "Okay, you're Sam Antion, no middle name, Sam Antion." So that's how I got my name. It truly was a mistake at Ellis Island. So.
Wow, that's a good. I love those little bits of like family, because like I said, my dad's 91, so anytime he feels like spinning yarn. I remember when I was younger, I'm just like, all right, Pa, I heard this story already, but now I'm just like, anytime he wants to spin yarn, I just sit there and just listen.
Oh, I videotaped it when before my dad passed, and we're trying to get it off of VHS now because all these.
If you're local, I can convert VHS to DVD or.
Where do you live?
Delaware.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. That's not too far from. I'm in Virginia Beach. Yeah. But see this picture back here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you remember Johnny Cash?
Of course.
Singer.
All right.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash had a song called "A Boy Named Sue," and it was about an old junk cowboy that they figured he wouldn't be around to raise his kid.
Yeah.
And so my dad was 50 when he had only went to second grade. Was 50 when he had me, and figured he wouldn't be around to raise me. So from the time I could crawl, he would put pillows in front of me and put my toys on the other side to teach me how to overcome obstacles. And to this day, I'm unstoppable. Now, I won't cheat anybody or step on them to get where I'm going. But if you tell me I can't do something, you better get the fuck out of the way, because I'm going to
climb over
by you doing it. And when people, this is for your audience, when people tell you can't do something, doesn't mean shit. It means they can't do it. It has nothing to do with you. So he instilled that with me. He put the first electric light bulb in Carnegie, Pennsylvania. He had his own electrical contracting firm when he was 13. They're actually doing a Hollywood documentary about him coming from Syria, as an entrepreneur, making me into an entrepreneur. It's going to premiere this summer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you're basically sitting here talking to him. I mean, there's just nothing would stop him, but he wasn't cheating, or he would be fair with everybody, but he would get the job done.
So what, how much of the Syrian culture do you keep through your life, as opposed to there's this kind of, I guess, conflict or difference between Syrian and American, just cultural belief systems. Do you keep a lot of that, family traditions alive?
There's some of it, most of them settled in the Pittsburgh area. And then my dad got us out of the nasty, steel mills of Pittsburgh, out about 60 miles out towards the West Virginia border. So we didn't have, daily contact with the Syrian culture, but I can remember my aunt, who was 6 years old, on the boat coming from, it was a cattle boat. They came in the steerage section from Syria. She was taking care of people. And I remember to the day she died, she was taking care of, she had 13 kids. She was married when she was 12 with 2 sets of twins and a set of triplets, and to a 40-year-old guy. I mean, so don't quite keep that exact cultural thing that would get you in jail with the.
Oh yeah, but they're
yeah, but still, like my girlfriend, I just taught her to make kibbe, which is or kibbeh. They call it as a Syrian food, and they have Syrian bread. And so yeah, and I was baptized Greek Orthodox, but I'm not really religious. But if I was with them, it'd be here, have something to eat, just like the Italians. You're not hungry? Good, then eat this.
So you say it sounds like you're from that southwestern corner of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Southwest Claysville, Pennsylvania. It's 500 people.
If I said to you West Virginia Chrome, would you know what I was talking about?
I would not, although I went to college on a football scholarship at WVU, but that doesn't mean anything. Now, if I said to you, I got the Wheeling feeling, which you know what I was talking about.
I not specifically.
All right, let's go to a whorehouse.
I knew some quite a bunch of folks from the Uniontown area. I did business with.
That's Pennsylvania.
Yeah, company in Pennsylvania. It's not far from the West Virginia border, and that's what they call duct tape in Uniontown.
Oh no, I never got that. And I never said yuns either. See, Pittsburgh people will say yuns. But what's funny is we said Washington. Washington, Pennsylvania was right about 8 miles from my hometown, and we called it Washington.
Right.
But I moved to Washington, D.C., and if you said that there, you were the hick of all hicks. I mean, So I would say Washington when I was in D.C. If I called home to my mother, I'd say Washington because it's just the way it was.
No, she didn't want you. You didn't want her to think you got all cityfied, right?
Actually, I hated her. I hated my mother so bad. I'll bet you never had anybody on this show that went to Santa school.
Damn, what the hell was that?
I went to Santa school because I hated my mother so much. I didn't want to go home for Christmas. So I say, I can't make it, Mom. I got to do all that. And so I would do the kids' parties in the daytime, and then naughty Santa. After the kids went to bed, it'd be like, hey, what's the worst thing about being Santa? Oh man, you only come once a year and that's down the chimney. And so I've had a very colorful past. So I had this entertainment company called Prank Masters. We custom designed practical jokes. It was based on candid camera, but you could actually hire me, and I ended up having 35 people working for me. We did 4,000 of these custom design. This long before Punk'd and all this stuff on TV. And one of my favorites is I did this over the hill preacher routine. So I would get all this information about you and then write this super comical last will and testament. So I was I was at one of the super fancy malls in Tyson's Corner outside of DC. And I'm dressed like a priest. And so I'm walking down through the mall and nobody knows that this is a joke. So they're saying, hello, Father, how are you? And I'm going along with it. And then I did this great job. Everybody's had a good time and I'm leaving, but I'm feeling a little bit ornery. So I'm walking by Victoria's Secret.
No.
Dressed like like a priest. And so I go in there and I pick the slinkiest little G-string I can possibly find and take it up to the counter. And these girls are taught to say something about your purchase, these young girls, and they're sweating. They're against the back wall. Like, what? My cousin got one of those last week. And I said, totally straight faced, I said, yep, the altar boys are going to love this. And I bought it and I walked out the door. I guarantee you it's on a training tape for Victoria. Wow. It's not as funny now as it was then because of all this that's going on with the church. But so I did 4,000 of those and we had belly dance. We had a guy that was 450 pounds.
Damn.
And he had that called a moonogram. The message was actually written on his ass. And you guys know, every business has its technical difficulty. So if he had 2 messages and 2 jobs in one day, somebody had to erase the first one.
Somebody had to wash his ass
and put the second one. So, oh man, we just had a blast. I mean, I was laughing my ass. I was pretty much a professional comedian. Right.
I would like to talk to the guy who had to wash the fat guy's ass to see if he really had a blast.
We had quite a turnover in that job. So I had to put my Craigslist ads.
Wanted one ass washer or billboard ass. Must be okay with fat dudes.
So the reason I got into that business is because prior to that, I had the second biggest nightclub in the state. And I was in 2 gunfights, and I carry a gun all the time now. I've got another sideline called brutal self-defense. And it's just the nastiest things you can do to another human being in self-defense terms. And so that was, and even that was West Virginia, remember? So we had 1 state police and 1 sheriff for 300 square miles. And so it's every man for himself. And so the gunfights that we had, the sheriff came out the next day and he says, "Hey, Tom, heard you had some excitement out there." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Anybody get hurt?" I said, "Well, they didn't hit me. I haven't seen those guys." He thought about it for a second. He said, "Okay, be careful." That was the whole investigation of a major shooting, 2 of them in my parking lot. Yeah, so when I got out of that, not one person has hit me with a beer bottle since I got out.
I guess your proximity to beer bottles and angry people could probably account for most of that. That's a fascinating
story. In other words, colorful background, put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still reeling from the gunfight.
Oh yeah, that was good. I carried a gun in my back pocket with a bar rag over it, and then these guys. And this other one wasn't even a gunfight. These guys came in. It was a pretty. And I'll tell you how I got into this mess. Is I took over a biker bar, and turned it into a nice restaurant and a big nice nightclub, second biggest in the state. Somehow these bikers did not appreciate my efforts. And so they wanted me gone. And there was 6 straight years, 7 days a week. They trying to get me. But the one time this wasn't bikers. It was a quiet Sunday night. The girls basketball team and their parents were in the
always the girls basketball team.
Yeah. And right. And, the jukebox was in the bar area, and 2 guys dressed nice, quiet, and they were just sitting there at the bar. And these young 12, 13-year-old girls are at the jukebox with their asses pointing towards the bar. And these guys get up and start rubbing their asses. And I was like, holy shit, I got all the parents over there. And so I threw them out the door. They pulled knives on me, so I had to disarm them. And then they said, "Well, we'll be back. We got the firepower," which, again, after you're there 7 days a week, hearing this bullshit, kind of numb to it. So we're all closed. And then I hear boom, 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 boom. They had shot up my Thunderbird with double-aught buckshot, like it was just like a sieve. And
what year Thunderbird was it?
Oh, that was going to be my question.
That was a 70 something. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a 454, 464 engine.
God.
That's a crime in itself.
Yeah.
So where did you bury them?
Yeah, well, I can't say that. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations on that or not.
Right, don't tell me nothing, because I want to be able to pass a lie detector test.
Hey, worse on a car is my brother rebuilt a 62 Corvette. And I had one too, and he rebuilt his. Took him a year to rebuild it. It burned up in our barn fire. Just melted the whole thing, right? Yeah, so.
Yeah, but there's nobody's ass to kick over that.
Yeah, that's right.
How did the barn fire start?
I don't know. Maybe those bikers got mad, found out my relatives.
I don't know. What color was the T-Bird?
Usually a cow plant.
The T-Bird was gray, silver, and the both of our 62 Corvettes were gold.
Old.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me give you a test here. Finish this statement. From a great 348 to a fine.
Looking at you, Pete.
409.
You're right. That's right. Great. That's a Chevy engine. Yeah. Great 348 to a fine 409.
He's real fine, my 409.
Yeah. So quite a colorful past. I was an entrepreneur forever. I went to college on a football scholarship, played first team at WVU. Oh, I had an interesting Penn State. Some of you Pennsylvania guys are like this. So I wanted my whole life to get a Penn State scholarship, because that's where my brother went, Joe Paterno, the whole bit. So I'm sitting in Joe Paterno's office. My dad's there, and he's in his 70s, and he's been reading about all these recruiting violations and all this. And most of you know that the college athletics is covered by the NCAA, National Collegiate Athletic Association. So my dad looks Joe Paterno right in the eye to protect his boy, and he says, "Is your school covered by the NAACP?" I wanted to
shit.
Whoop thing.
You thought you had a black son.
Joe didn't know whether to laugh or what. So yeah, I had a colorful past and played football. And then before I graduated from college, I owned 5 apartment buildings and a hotel. And all with no money down. Long before you ever heard of no money down stuff, I did a lot of those deals and just anything to avoid working for a living. That's my motto.
I don't blame you. Working sucks.
Yeah. So I'm looking through these questions that you're always ready to answer, and I'm intrigued here. What is butt camp?
Butt camp. Okay. So I got so good at this online stuff, people start to notice. And they said, "Tom, you got to do a boot camp. You got to do a boot camp." And with my comic background, I'm like thinking, there's no fucking way I'm going to do something everybody else on earth does. So I'm sitting there making all this money. And I'm saying, I'm sitting there making all this money on my rear end. I'll call it butt camp. And it caught on, and I've done them in 11 countries around the world. It's the longest continuously running internet seminar ever. And but in London, they made me call it bum camp instead of butt camp.
Well, everybody needs to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what the butt camp is. It's a public seminar for internet and digital marketing. Okay.
Well, that definitely makes sense.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I assumed it was.
Oh, man. Now, there's one other issue that I heard you guys talking about on the show. Okay. And it's just so clear to me. You guys seem befuddled about it with the guy that taking the ice baths, right? Remember that guy, Mark Went? He said,
"Oh yeah, yes."
We had Mark last week.
Yeah.
It was just one. I wasn't as much befuddled. It's something I want to start to try to do because, like I said before, I listen to a lot of the Adam Carolla show. He talks about he does it every morning. He has an ice bath, but he just goes in his pool most of the time. But it's something I've been like slowly building up enough courage to start.
Yeah, but you guys are acting like this is new. You also were talking about Michelangelo and that small dick on his statue.
Yeah.
Because they were doing ice baths back in the 1500s.
I just think it was just that small. That's all.
Well, actually, what we were discussing about, Eric, was back in Roman times, having a large penis was thought to be a sign of low intelligence. So that's why when you see
brilliant then.
Yeah, right. But that's why when you see medieval art, their penises are always exaggeratedly small. Like that's why, because they're so small, is because these are supposed to be champions with great.
Can you imagine Michelangelo? He says, "Oh man, I made it too big," and he's there with a file.
I'm gonna work this hog down.
Oh man.
Plus, it saves a lot of time if you make it small, because if you make it big, you got to carve a lot of veins into it. And then
and you got to wear earplugs because she's yelling so loudly. It's not worth it. Speaking of Pat Sajak, you were talking about him too.
We had a couple conversations about Pat Sajak.
Yeah.
Well, this is something you might not know.
What's wrong with Pat Sajak?
You found that he made $15 million a year, right?
Yeah.
He makes more money licensing his image to casinos for the slot machines. More than that.
That's shit! Right. I didn't even think his face. Anytime you go to a fucking casino, there is a Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, he and Vanna White make more money with their licensing agreements than they do with the actual show.
And they have to license that separately from the Wheel of Fortune imagery because
it's their intellectual property.
They own their own. They own their own image.
So, Eric, the one thing we were talking about was Pat Sajak had like 2 meltdowns in a row. Like
when he grabbed a dude up or something, I didn't see.
That was the first time he grabbed some dude up. And then he was like yelling the next day, he was like yelling at some chick because like there was only like 2 letters left. And he was like, for Christ's sake, solve the puzzle.
Oh shit.
So, but the point I was making was, Pat Sajak has fuck you money at this point. we were talking about 15 million. He makes 15 million a season, but Tom was pointing out that the licensing fees that he gets from those slot machines far exceeds what he gets from Wheel of Fortune. So he's got even more fuck you money.
Exactly.
I mean, he can just.
Another thing I saw you guys were talking about was Chihuahua fighting, desktop Chihuahua fighting, and crow fighting. You guys are missing the point. You don't put crow against crow and Chihuahua against crow. You put crow against Chihuahua, and now you got pay-per-view.
Or flying dogs.
Or flying.
Or flying. Really?
You can see how my mind works, right?
I love that he not only comes on and brings the best jokes for this episode, he's taking notes of other episodes. He goes, "Oh, you missed this joke here. Here you go." Hey, that was fantastic.
So here's the research you weren't doing on the fly.
Yeah, I didn't get warmed up yet, guys. What
I'm,
else you want to know?
No, but I, if first of all, tabletop Chihuahua fighting.
Oh shit!
Would be, think about it. You don't need it can just be pop up. You can just do it at someone's house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I want the crows to fight the Chihuahuas.
Yeah, I feel like I really feel like that's an unfair fight. I feel like the crow has the advantage against the Chihuahua.
Well, then they handicap it like golf.
What do we?
I one wing down. I don't
know.
Are we talking clip the crow's wings or something?
Yeah, exactly right. And get PETA to sponsor it. Be great.
PETA to sponsor it.
It will for sure be around at some point, but
that quarterback
I don't think they'll be invited.
You know remember that quarterback from Virginia that was doing the dog fighting a while back?
Michael Vick?
I can't remember his name, but
well, you're in Eagles, like this is Eagles country.
No, we're in I'm talking about I thought he was he was doing it in Virginia. I don't remember where.
He was doing it in Virginia, but he was playing for the Philadelphia Eagles when
what was his name?
Fraud. You're a fraud, bro.
Michael Vick.
What was his name?
Michael Vick.
Oh, Michael Vick. Yeah, they had bumper stickers all over town with dogs pissing on Michael Vick's face.
Well, I don't even think I don't think he knew what was going on. I think that was just his peeps.
Man, I am so glad my girl don't hear that right now. I am so glad she's in bed, yo, because she would snap. She would tell you, man, I'm so glad she's in bed right now.
Well, you think he didn't know about it?
I mean, I think that I think that with a person of his profile, him knowing about or maybe I just think differently than he does. But if I had that profile, and I would not have, if I was making all this money from the NFL and was this star, I wouldn't have a dogfighting.
People have been made some mistakes, they had super big contracts and just fucked it all up,
Yeah,
I kind of know. I'm a little bit jaded because when I went to college, on a football scholarship, there was 31 of us in my freshman scholarship picture. Only 6 of us graduated. The rest of them got thrown out, flunked out, dead, in jail. So they would take anybody that could run a 4.40 and give them a scholarship and then cross their fingers they'd last, So there's a lot of idiots and bullshit and that goes on behind the scenes and shooting up. And when I was a charter pilot for a while too, I used to fly Rocky Bly.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. Sounds like bullshit. Again, you're not in traffic making people rich. So I was flying Rocky Bly around. Remember him from the Steelers? Rocky Blyer was the ex-Vietnam vet that got shot up and stuff. So yeah, it's long. See, you guys are too young, I guess, for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'd fly him for a couple hours, and he could barely get out of the plane and walk into the hangar. And then the next day, Sunday, he's running, making touchdowns. They just shoot him up like crazy. I was in the locker room for these kind of things. So I'm a little bit jaded about sports.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can only think the way I think. I mean, I can always take someone else's perspective and see it, but I still have my own compass, and I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off the mark. I'm not.
Well, everybody loves sports. I get that, but I kind of
I don't really give a fuck about sports.
Well, I mean, lots of sports are popular for sure, but I tell people, all right, you're going to spend 4 hours all day Sunday watching and screaming at the TV. I guarantee you, not one of those multi-million-dollar athletes is going to send you $1.
No, they don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing that Eric is wearing his Cowboys hat, representing proudly.
Tony Dorsett, he used to play against him for Pitt when I was playing.
Oh shit!
Go ahead and run your mouth about him. You see a Hall of Famer.
But
that's not even funny.
I'm not a big sports guy, and I think one of the things that kind of turned me off of sports is my life sucks enough. Like I got enough shit to deal with, and being like in Philadelphia, especially.
They are the worst.
I mean, we are, dude. No, we are the second place champions. We've got this. We won. We got second place in the Super Bowl. We got second place in the World Series. We got second place in the NBA. Second place, baby.
Yeah, but you got high crime. I mean,
I'm not bragging, but that's the thing.
Two.
Right, we're number 2. But the point that I'm making is that these dudes that I see that I grew up around, like my sister's boyfriends and husbands and my brothers and shit, like literally, if the Eagles lost, that fucked up the whole week.
It does. It does.
It fucked up the whole week, and I'm like,
and you know who has fun with it? Me. Because every time the Cowboys lose to a fucking other team, there's always an Eagles fan calling me up talking shit. They ain't even Green Bay fans, but they talking shit. I told him I will get the last fucking laugh. And just like the dude, what's his name? Jalen Hurts, the last fucking play. If that was Nick Foles, he would have threw that motherfucker halfway downfield. I'm just saying I'm not talking. I'm a football fan first before I'm a Cowboys fan.
I got you, man. But look at the passion in him.
Right, but you see how fucking Jalen Hurts, he didn't even throw that bitch 30 yards. He said slipped out. Are you kidding me?
See, Eric, I didn't see it because
I saw it. Oh my God.
The day I graduated,
I knew the Eagles.
I haven't watched the game.
I knew they was going to win that Super Bowl. I knew it. I was like, fuck, they're going to pull this shit off. And what happened? That's Philadelphia for you.
That's Philadelphia. But I mean, I've talked to, and it's not so much with hockey or baseball, but football fucks up the whole fucking week.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want anything to have that much power over me ever. You understand? Here's the thing is I used to play video games, when I was a kid, and you get stuck on that part that you just can't beat.
That's me right now.
You just can't beat it. You just can't beat it. And you keep playing the same thing. And I would just, at some point I'd be like, you know what? This isn't worth my fucking time. And I would just turn it off and go outside and play.
You could have written an ebook and made thousands of dollars a month in the time you pissed around with that game. That's the way I look at things.
As if I didn't have a low enough opinion of myself. Here's Tom to tell me where else I fucked up.
You got this stage name. What is it?
Matty Rockdeff.
Matty Rockdeff.
Is that stage name or is that your real name?
No, that is a stage name.
Okay.
The real name is Sanazak.
All right. Well, you still got a cool one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, well, the reason I have respectable family. You know what I mean? So I don't like throwing my real name out there. Like
I don't.
My son, my junior, he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a political science degree, and I thought he had political aspirations. So it was one of those things where I didn't.
Oh,
I've always. And so just like I explained this to everybody, the Media Virus was the name of my first band back in 1994. And it was the epitome of teamwork, and it was a spirit that I've always wanted to keep alive, which is how it kind of rolled in here now 25 years later, or however, 20 years later. I don't want to think about how much later it is actually, but and Matty Rockdeff came from I used to do work for internet radio when 94.1 around here went from music to a talk station or a sports station.
That's kind of like 101.7 here in Delaware.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was enraged at it because this was his favorite thing. So he started his own internet radio station. and we were WRDR. We got our own licensing numbers and everything. And I was in Rock Def Radio, and I became Matty Rock Def, and I did radio shows. So it's just, this is the culmination of many different projects and the many different avenues. My life is, my life's not nearly as rich and entertaining as yours, Tom. But, I was a musician for many years. I played a lot of shows. I know a lot about, working with people and trying to work with different personalities in different projects, especially when it's all right now. This is a volunteer effort, man. None of us get paid for this. Right. And trying to orchestrate, yes, I want this person to accomplish something for me. I have no monetary compensation for him. The only thing these people have is, the show itself.
And the camaraderie that we have.
And the camaraderie that goes along with it. And that's, that's how I was in a lot of the bands that I was in. So, it all kind of comes full circle, just to kind of explain to you where.
But see, I'm sitting here thinking the whole time you're talking.
Yeah.
Man, there's like 10 ebooks in there on dealing for young musicians, dealing with, this, that, and the other that I have no idea what you had to put up with to be a young musician, and cheating you and travel and getting equipment and all these things that you have credibility at. You've been there, done that. So many people.
Yeah, but don't you have to have a certain area of success? You don't have to have any kind of.
No, you have to have knowledge that somebody else needs. That's all.
Tomorrow, Matt, we're going to start writing our first ebook. It's going to be how to get great guests on a podcast that nobody listens to.
I mean, honestly, Tom, just so you know, our marketing strategy for this podcast is we ask people to come on the show, and then we tell them about our show.
Well, I get that, and I'm responsible for 30% of your reviews, I might add.
I know, I saw that before, and that was just from listening to the show. We do appreciate, thank you for that. I did see that. Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding me.
Make your guests listen to episode 211 of mine, which is how to be a great podcast guest.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So you have a podcast? I'm sorry, I missed that.
730 episodes.
Jesus Christ.
ScrewTheCommute.com is my podcast. Screw the Commute is my podcast. Yeah.
Screw the Commute is the podcast.
Yeah. Screw the Commute.
And it can be found wherever podcasts are found, Spotify.
Oh, hell yeah. 730 episodes as of today.
Son of a bitch. That's how the fuck.
Yeah. So
on here anywhere, man. You don't put that. So do you go fishing for guests on Podmatch?
Well, I'm there on Podmatch, but I mean, when you have a podcast, you'll start getting solicited by podcast agencies trying to get on your show, trying to get their people on your show. So here's what you do. You say, hey, well, I don't know if you guys want to do other shows.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Okay,
yes, we do.
And here's what you do. So you're going to have a piece of boilerplate text. And when they pitch you to get their guest on your show, you say, hey, we're only doing reciprocal podcasts. So if it makes sense, we'll be on your show. They'll be on our show. And then you get these very expensive podcast agencies, like $10,000-$11,000 for the guest to pay to be on there. They're working for you for free.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's another really cool, I teach a whole podcast course, but this is a killer gold thing right here. So I used to teach people to I don't want to say infiltrate, but you want to get into into Facebook groups, and I used to tell them, okay, join the group, be nice, don't be an asshole, and all that, and it's just forever. I forgot about that. This tip I'm telling you got me invited to the White House, I might say. So now, if you have a podcast, you go find groups that you'd like to be in front of, and you offer to interview the admin.
I was just fucking thinking that today. Swear to Christ, I was just thinking that.
And the admin, if you make them look good, and it's not, if it makes them look good, they're going to put it in front of the group. And now you're the big shit in front of this thousands of people. The way it got me invited to the White House is with my school. I'm really good for military spouses because they have to travel a lot and they get shit jobs because everybody knows they're going to move. But my skill is portable. They can be anywhere and do it. So the second lady of the last administration, Mrs. Pence, that was her platform, was military spouse employment. So I interview this guy in this veterans group, and it goes great. He puts me in front of the group. One of the veterans in the group was also military spouse of the year at Fort Bragg. She knows the people at the White House. She got me invited to the White House to talk to the second lady's office about military spouse employment. And then they had me speak at a big military event where I'm not even a veteran. So very powerful ways to really promote your podcast that are out there if you play your cards right.
So real quick, since you're, a teacher on how to do podcasts, what do I guess, how would you grade our show just on the, on the content? Like, what do you think of what we do?
Well, sound quality is good, but you have a variety show pretty much, so a lot of podcasts are very specific. Like mine is entrepreneurship in some fashion. There's a lot of flexibility, but it's entrepreneurship, obviously, screw the commute. So the name of your podcast doesn't tell exactly what it is right off the bat. So you have to work a little harder to get it out into the, to let people know what it's about. And that would be with good short taglines. When they hit your site, it's a thing called glanceable marketing. They should know instantly what it's about. If it's not for them, they leave. Who cares? Goodbye. But if you don't want people that your show is for them to wonder, is this for me or not? You want to hit them in the face with it right away. So having a cool, cute name is only important to you until it gets mainstream that people, you got to be on Media Virus, right? So that's one thing. And so it's a variety show, which is quite a bit different than what I do, but still the quality is excellent. The sound quality is excellent. I wasn't quite sure when I went to your site, when I listened to Mr. Wendt on the latest one, and then I saw him again, the next one. I'm thinking, what the hell? And A blocks and B blocks and C. So you're split. I didn't realize you were splitting the show up into different things. So that could be more clear for the guest perspective. But you just got to hustle for more reviews too, because people do make decisions on reviews. And with 300 episodes, I think it said 300 episodes, you should have more than 2 reviews.
Yeah. If you break, because we didn't originally start the show breaking it into 3 blocks. It was kind of one long mess. And here's the thing. It's like, we wanted to do comedy. We want to try to be funny. And so the thing that you want to try to do with be funny is be topical. So, grabbing news stories, see what we can make fun of. And you know what? And I'm
which we aren't doing right now.
What's that?
Which we aren't doing right now. We're not being funny, so.
No, we're not. But what I'm doing is I want to learn shit too. Like I want to learn and teach and, share information. I find you fascinating. Well, we've gone way over what I would normally.
Right, guys. I got to cut out of here. I'm about to head my black ass to work, but it was good.
All right, man.
All right,
thanks for coming in, dude. Appreciate you hanging out, dude. Have a good one.
Anytime, you too.
All right.
Appreciate it, man. Take it easy. Be safe.
But I find this fascinating. I always like to, and my wife gets on me for being a very behind the curtain, breaking of the fourth wall type of thing, like talking about production stuff on the air and shit like that. But it's, this is almost, it's almost kind of like my diary. Like I sit down once a week and just kind of start talking and
people do this for different purposes. Mine is clearly for money making. It's not a hobby. I did 3 episodes a week for the last 5 years, and so everybody has their own purpose to do them. But if you want more listenership, and you got to do the stuff you got to do.
Right.
It just doesn't fall. There's so many podcasts now. You can't just expect word of mouth that much. Yeah.
Honestly, I sometimes I don't listen to my own podcast that week because I've been listening to other podcasts. I mean, I understand that there's so much information out there, and just, this is just something I've always wanted to do. You know what I mean? And I think that, or not this in particular, but something, this has kind of been in my head for a really long time. This has been in Mike's head for a really long time. And just, there's nothing that, like, and also I think it has something to do with the fact that, like, I think me and Mike bounce off each other really well.
Often.
And that, and that makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. Now, if you want to do more, now, one thing you'll have to do if you want to do the most amount of shows, you'll have to clean up your act on their show.
Yeah.
You can't make it explicit, or people like, oh, fuck, yeah, we have to edit it out or do something.
Absolutely.
But you can tell them, hey, if you come on our show, it's going to be a little rockets, so that's all fair. But if you listen to that episode of mine, 211, and I kind of hopefully demonstrated some of the stuff today. I killed myself to listen to other episodes. I left your review ahead of time. Nobody does that shit. That's why I get invited back. I've been in some shows 13 times.
So, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to invite you back. I think you're.
I don't want to come.
What's that? Fuck you! I ain't coming back.
This piece of shit.
Well, I don't blame you either, but I'm going to invite you. Just I'll just bother you then. But we really do appreciate your time today. Tom,
if you have any questions offline, just shoot them over to me. I'm accessible. I'm at my level, nobody can believe it. I come from this small town, 500 people, like I said, Claysville, Pennsylvania, and it's named after Henry Clay, the great statesman. And he didn't really sleep there. His horse just took a dump there on the way through. It was good enough for us. But it was a small town. That's why they call me the multimillionaire guy next door. I'm just a regular guy. I work hard. You can believe it. If I shake my hand, I'm gonna do what I say. It's not this bullshit entitled crap. This young generation is just driving me fucking crazy.
You're real people, and that's you don't see that a lot, especially on the internet.
Yeah, and so I've had great success, and but don't act like a dick. That's the whole thing about it. Treat people right. That's the deal.
I think that's the mantra of the media virus, right? Don't act like a dick. Oh no, that's what you were always telling me.
Because that means you're stupid.
No, that's what Mike's always saying to me. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
But Tom, if you'd like to hang around in the next block, we do have another Just the Tips lined up. I know you did enjoy.
I really got to run now, but
you've been very generous with your time.
Yeah, no, I'm happy.
Really appreciate it
to be on. Like I said, it's there's a lot of fun for me because I can be a little more crazy than a lot of the shows I'm on.
You can always open up on our show.
Yeah.
Now, what we've noticed though is that kind of is for dudes that kind of try to treat, have to stay in kind of one lane. They'll come on our show and then maybe not tell anybody. You were on my show.
I mean, I'm known for having a wide range. I mean, I've spoken on stages all around the world and people laughing their ass off, but they get good quality content too. So
no, dude, I mean, you were fantastic. This went way better than I had imagined or thought it would even go. And I wanted to pick your brain, about a lot of the techniques and things. And you've been very generous with your time and with your information. And we do thank you. And hopefully you'll be more generous to us later.
Yeah, send me some questions if you have anything come up.
I absolutely will, man. Thank you so much for your time again. But coming after this, Tom's going to be bouncing out. We're going to be coming back with the C block. We have another Just the Tips. We might have a TikTok corner or some real talk with the boys or something else like that. But we're just basically winding down the show. But we'll be you can always give us a call, 646-virus-01, the 646-virus-01. Make sure to check out themediavirus.com. Make sure to check out screwthecommute.com. And go listen to Tom's podcast, episode 211. Is that right?
Yeah, if you want to be a great podcaster.
If you want to be a great podcaster, I'm going to go listen to that's
a great podcast guest. What guest?
How to be a great
to get invited back all the time and just raise yourself way above the other people that are trying to be a guest.
In all honesty, and if anybody, if anybody can give you advice in that arena, it is this man right here. Thank you. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Did we miss anything, Mike?
I don't think so. Again, thanks to Tom. I really appreciate you coming by and really enjoyed having you. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with the Media Virus Podcast, C Block, right after this.
I completely understand if people don't want to come on my fucking show.